It was the winter of 2002 when Sam disappeared into the mountains alone. At the time, he thought it was just another trekking journey, a few cold nights beneath the stars, a quiet escape from the noise below. But hidden deep beyond the untouched ridges were frozen valleys, dangerous crossings, long silent nights, and moments that would slowly force him to confront the weight he had been carrying for years. Over the next few days, Sam would face brutal weather, isolation, exhaustion, strange encounters in the wilderness, and an emotional stillness powerful enough to change him forever. The mountain air was cold enough to sting gently against the skin. Far below the winding trail, the sleep wall remained hidden beneath layers of pale morning mist. Villages, roads, traffic, glowing screens, unanswered messages, all of it already felt distant. Up here, there was only Sam, and now you. The narrow mountain path stretched ahead between towering stone ridges dusted with fresh snow. Sam walked slowly beneath the pale cold light of dawn, his boots crunching softly over frozen gravel and patches of brittle grass. The sound echoed quietly through the open valley. His backpack shifted gently against his shoulders with every step. Fabric rustled softly whenever the wind brushed against him. Long strands of cold air moved down from the peaks, carrying the scent of pine, stone, and distant snow. Sam hadn't spoken much since the climb began. There was a heaviness inside him that even the mountains could feel. For months, maybe longer, life below had slowly hollowed him out. Endless noise, endless expectations, bright rooms filled with the tired conversations. For months, maybe longer, life below had slowly hollowed him out. Endless noise, endless expectations, bright rooms filled with the tired conversations, sleepless nights staring at ceilings while rain tapped against apartment windows. There were days Sam couldn't remember the last time he felt truly quiet. So he left. Before sunrise, no grand announcement, no dramatic goodbye, just a packed bag, sturdy boots, and a silent hope that somewhere deep in the untouched mountains, something inside him might finally loosen. The trail curved around a massive boulder covered in thick pale green moss. Sam slowed beside it, removing one glove briefly to brush his fingertips against the damp surface. For the first time that morning, his shoulders lowered slightly. The mountains seemed to notice. Further ahead, a narrow stream appeared between scattered stones. Crystal clear water flowed down from somewhere high above, bubbling softly as it slipped over smooth rock. From where you stand nearby, you can hear the tiny movements of water colliding against the stone endlessly patient and gentle. He dipped his hands into the stream. The cold shocked through his fingers immediately. Sam splashed water across his face. Droplets rolled down his skin before disappearing into the collar of his jacket. For a moment, he simply remained there beside the stream, listening. The path climbed higher through open alpine grasslands, where tiny white and purple flowers swayed beneath the breeze. Their thin stems brushed softly against Sam's boots whenever he passed. Sam stopped. The bridge swayed slightly in the mountain wind. Its thick ropes creaked softly. The wooden plank looked old, weathered by snow and storms, yet somehow dependable. The sound drifted downward into the gorge below, step by step. Sam crossed slowly while the bridge rocked gently beneath him like a cradle suspended above his river. Step by step, Sam crossed slowly while the bridge rocked gently beneath him like a cradle suspended above the river. From where you follow behind, the rushing water below sounds distant but constant. Halfway across the bridge, Sam stopped moving. Mist curled upward from the gorge, wrapping around his boots. He gripped the rope railing tightly. For several seconds, only the wind moved. The kind of exhaustion that built slowly over years. Sam lowered his head. I have been carrying this too much, he whispered into the mountain air. When he finally continued walking, his steps sounded lighter. The far side of the bridge opened into a wide alpine meadow, surrounded by enormous snow-covered ridges. Sunlight spilled across the valley in soft golden sheets. A small herd of mountain goats grazed quietly amongst the grass. The mountain accepted his presence. By early afternoon, Sam reached a sheltered hollow surrounded by ancient pine trees bent sideways by decades of mountain wind. The ground there was level and protected by the natural rock wall, perfect for camp. With a long exhale, Sam lowered his backpack onto the earth. The sound felt satisfying. He unrolled the tent carefully. The thick material rustled loudly at first. Tent poles click gently into place. Plastic joints, light metallic snaps. Sam worked slowly. The mountain wind moved softly through the pine branches overhead while he secured the final stake into the earth. When the tent finally stood completely beneath the trees, Sam paused quietly to look at it. A tiny warm refuge surrounded by endless wilderness. Inside, he smoothed the sleeping mat flat with both hands. The foam compressed gently beneath his palms. His sleeping bag unfurled with deep fabric whispers. Outside, evening slowly approached. colder. Sam gathered dry twigs and arranged them carefully inside the small ring stones. Tiny bits of bark crumbled beneath his gloves. The match hissed when he struck it. Soft orange firelight began dancing across the surrounding rocks. From nearby, you can hear the steady breathing sound of flames growing stronger. Sam held his hands near the fire for the long time. The orange glow softened the tiredness in his face. A metal cup rested above the flames while soap warmed gently inside. Steam rose upward, carrying the scent of the herbs and breathed into the evening wind. The sun slowly disappeared beyond the peaks. Snow-covered ridges turned pink, then violet, then deep blue, and the darkness settled over the valley. A small fox appeared quietly at the edge of the firelight. Its fur glowed copper beneath the flames. For a while, the three of you simply shared the silence together. The fox remained there a little bit longer before disappearing soundlessly into the dark forest. Night deepened. Stars appeared above the mountains in impossible numbers. The sky no longer looked empty. Inside the tent, Sam zipped the entrance closed. He settled into sleeping bag while cold wind moved outside through the pine trees. Occasionally, a small crack echoed through the darkness. Sam stared upward at the dim fabric ceiling above him. In the stillness, memories rose gently to the surface. Crowded trains, unread messages, conversations that drained more than they healed. The strange loneliness of sitting beside people while feeling invisible. The mountains seemed to dull their edges. Sam closed his eyes slowly. Outside, a distant night bird called softly through the valley. Soft grey light filtered through the tent fabric while distant bird song drifted between the trees. Sam stirred beneath the sleeping bag. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, he looked rested. The fire pit still held faint warmth beneath the ashes. Sam prepared a small breakfast beside the fading embers. A spoon stirred slowly through the warm oats. Steam curled upward around his hands. The mountain air smelled impossibly clean. After eating, Sam packed lightly for the day trek. The trail climbed steeper beyond camp. Loose tree shifted beneath his boots. Clouds drifted low enough to brush against the cliffs. Hours later, Sam reached a high ridge overlooking a hidden alpine lake. The water was perfectly still, a sheet of dark glass reflecting the enormous sky above. Not even wind disturbed its surface. Sam removed his backpack carefully before sitting on a flat stone near the shoreline. From nearby, you can hear the quiet fabric sounds while he folds them neatly beside him. Sam exhaled sharply at the chill, then lowered his finger into the lake. Tiny ripples spread outward across the mirrored water. Cloud reflections trembled softly. The entire mountain became hushed beneath the snow. No birds, no distant animals, only breathing. Sam tilted his face upward toward the falling snow, and for a while he simply sat there beside the frozen lake without trying to fix anything inside him. That was new. Another bridge crossed above a narrow rushing stream. This one was built from thick logs darkened by years of moisture. The wood groaned warmly beneath the Sam's weight. Below, water rushed over stone in layered stones. Sam stopped midway across. His hands rested against the railing. Then quietly, almost too softly to hear, he spoke. I forgive myself. The stream carried the words downstream immediately. Gone, released. By the time he returned to camp that evening, darkness had already begun settling over the valley. The fire rebuilt quickly. The spoon moved in slow circles. Steam rolled upward. Nearby, a small mountain hare emerged from shadows. Its nose twitched rapidly. Unlike most wild animals, it showed no fear. The hare remained near the camp for a long time while Sam ate quietly beside the flames. Sam unfolded an extra blanket and tucked it carefully around his shoulders. The fabric whispered quietly while he settled deeper into the sleeping bag. The mountains seemed to breathe around him. And day 3, the hidden valley. Morning felt different, lighter, clearer. Sunlight spilled through the trees in long pale beams, while frost melted slowly from the rocks. Every moment felt deliberate, grounded. The sleeping bag rolled tightly beneath his hands. Tent fabric folded into neat squares with long rhythmic rustling sound. When he finally lifted the backpack onto his shoulders again, it somehow seemed lighter than before, even though nothing had been removed. Tall grasses brushed against Sam's legs while he walked. Wildflowers nodded gently beneath the breeze. The air smelled of pine resin and cold river water. At the center of the valley stood a single ancient pine tree. Its enormous branches stretched wide like sheltering arms. For a moment, he simply looked upward into the dark green canopy. Then he sat slowly against the trunk. From nearby, you can hear the faint creaking of branches moving overhead, wind drifting softly through needles. Far off river sounds somewhere deeper in the valley. Sam removed a small notebook. Sam removed a small notebook from his backpack. The pages were worn. He stared at them quietly before beginning to write. The pen scratched softly across the paper. No one else would ever read those words, not the mountain, Not the world below, just Sam. When he finally stopped writing, the valley remained completely silent around him. Slowly he tore the pages free. Then, beside the roots of the old pine tree, Sam dug a small space into the soil. He placed the folded pages inside, covered them carefully, and sat there for a while afterward with both hands resting against the earth, not grieving, not relieved, just quiet. A moment above caught his attention. Neither of you moved. The moment lasted only seconds, yet something about it felt ancient. The snow leopard eventually turned away and disappeared soundlessly between the rocks, but the stillness it left behind remained. By afternoon, Sam began the long descent down the mountain. The familiar trail no longer felt heavy beneath his feet. The rope bridge creaked softly once more, as if saying farewell. The streams continued singing through stones. The wind moved carefully through the grasslands. Every sound now felt recognizable. Near the lower valley, Sam built one final camp beside the gentle river. Firelight flickered warmly beneath the growing night. Tea poured slowly into the metal cup. Sam wrapped a blanket around himself and sat beside the fire for a while long time. Above him, stars filled the sky once more, brighter than before, or maybe he was finally seeing them clearly. Inside the tent, everything felt quieter now. The river nearby created a constant soothing current of sound. Occasionally, the fire released a final crack from the fading embers. Sam lay still beneath the blankets. No rushing, no pressure, no invisible noise pressing against his chest. The journey had never really been about reaching the highest peak. It had been about finding silence strong enough to hear himself again. And somehow, the mountains had given him that. Wind through pines, river over stone, distant shifting snow, the untouched world carrying on peacefully around him. Sam closed his eyes, and for the first time in a long while, rest arrived without resistance. Beyond the tent walls, the peak stood silently beneath the stars.